Top 5 of the most evil serial killers you have ever known. Number 5. Gary Ridgway. One of the United States' most prolific serial killers, Gary Ridgway was arrested in 2001 for 4 murders, though he confessed to killing at least 70 women in Washington state throughout the 1980s and 1990s. He avoided the death penalty by providing detailed confessions and leading police to the dumping sites of his victims, 5 of whom he dumped in the Green River, which led the press to nickname him the Green River Killer. He was convicted of 49 murders and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Number 4. Pedro Rodrigues. One of the most recent serial killers on our list, Pedro Rodrigues is a Brazilian serial killer. Arrested in 1973, he was later convicted in 2003 for murdering at least 71 people and sentenced to 128 years in prison, although Brazilian law system prohibits anyone from spending more than 30 years behind bars. Committing his first murder at the age of 14, Rodrigues began a series of burglaries and carried out a murdering spree against local drug dealers. By the age of 18 years old, he had killed 10 people. Whilst imprisoned, he executed his own father, who was also serving time for murder. Remarkably, he went on to kill at least 47 inmates while imprisoned. His continued killings led to further convictions, increasing his sentence to 400 years. However, he was later released from prison in 2007 after serving 34 years, but was later rearrested in 2011. Number 3. Daniel Camargo Barbosa. Barbosa was a serial killer who was believed to have raped and killed over 150 young girls in Colombia and Ecuador during the 1970s and 1980s. He confessed to killing 72 girls in Ecuador since escaping from a Colombian prison. After being arrested in Quito, he led authorities to the dumping grounds of those victims whose bodies had not yet been recovered. He was convicted in 1989 and sentenced to 16 years in prison, the maximum sentence available in Ecuador. In November 1994, he was murdered in prison by the cousin of one of his victims. Number 2. Dr. Harold Frederick Shipman. Dr. Harold Frederick Shipman was an English doctor and is one of the world's most prolific serial killers in recorded history, proven to have been responsible for up to 250 murders. A trusted doctor, he was well respected in his community. However, colleagues and local undertakers began raising concerns over the high death rate in the area and the large number of cremation forms for elderly women that he had countersigned. Several bodies were later exhumed and postmortems revealed diamorphine within their system. It was later established Shipman had purposely injected fatal doses of the drug in a huge number of patients, causing their death. He then forged their wills so he could inherit large sums of money and completed cremation requests to destroy the victims' bodies. The trial judge sentenced him to 15 consecutive life sentences and recommended that he never be released. Shipman later hanged himself in January 2004 in his cell at Wakefield Prison. Number 1. Pedro Alonso Lopez. Pedro Alonso Lopez is a Colombian serial killer, accused of raping and killing more than 300 girls across South America. He lured them to secluded areas or inside unoccupied buildings where he raped each of them before killing them by a range of brutal methods, primarily strangulation. Lopez was arrested when an attempted abduction failed and he was trapped by market traders. He confessed to over 300 murders, but the police only believed him when a flash flood uncovered a mass grave containing many of his victims. Eventually 53 bodies were discovered. Imprisoned in 1980, he served 18 years before being released from an Ecuadorian prison and was deported to Colombia, where he was rearrested and in 2002 was sentenced to life. Thank you for watching my channel. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed my content.